Welcome, everyone, to this edition of Talented Universe on the NDB Media Network. This is our first show of 3 today. Marcia and I are going to be worn out probably by the end, but that's okay. Sorry for the slight delay. I was chit-chatting with Jared too much, so I said Marcia got after me, so that's fine.
It was my fault, really.
No, it was not, Jared. It's never the guest's fault. Never. But first, I'm going to introduce Marcia, and then I'm going to introduce our lovely guest officially. Hey, Marcia.
Hi.
How's life treating you today?
Hey, it's Monday morning. It's fall. It's almost Halloween. It all is good, and I'm happy to be here live.
Oh, you would remind me that it's almost Halloween, wouldn't you? Oh, I didn't even put up my decorations yet. Oh, well. Maybe I'll have you come up, Marcia, and help me, huh?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I figured I'd say that. But anyway, I would like to introduce our guest today, Jared Anthony Smith. I will try to get it right.
Yeah.
You're doing
Jared, how are you doing today?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I am doing good. Now, we were talking before air, and your bio said you're not in Lithuania right now, but that's usually where you're hanging out. Is that correct?
That is correct, sir. I've been there for about 3 years now, and I'm still going strong. I love it. I hope I can stay as long as they'll have me.
What made you make that decision?
I really feel like I didn't even make the decision. I feel like it kind of like just fell into my lap. I was living and working in New York as an actor, like so many people try to do, and I was having some minimal success. I was always busy, which was amazing. I moved there right before COVID happened, but I was still busy even through COVID. I know, perfect time to move to New York. But even throughout all of that, I had some remote projects that I was a part of. I had voiceover work. When I got back, I had little cabarets and plays and short films. So like I felt like I was doing the thing, but I was also working 30 hours a week as a server and multiple other survival jobs. And I was really just feeling like I was ready for something more, and I think we all feel that way. I don't think we would be trying to do this if we didn't. But so I remember I was just doing the thing where I was casting my net all over the place. I was on Actors Access and backstage and just trying to get any job that I could, applying for 2-3 dozen things a day. And I remember getting an email back from a woman in Lithuania, and she was asking me to audition to be the host of a YouTube channel. And I was like, well, this sounds like it's probably not real, but I don't even think Lithuania is an actual place. I think that's made up. You could have come up with a better name if you wanted to. But it turned out to be just exactly what it was. I got on a FaceTime with them, and her name was Elena Bedolske, and she's to this day a fast friend, and I work with her all the time. She was there with 2 other beautiful ladies. They were producers on the project, and I use this joke a lot, but I see the camera and I see 3 beautiful women sitting in front of me trying to get me to go halfway across the world, and I'm like, I'm going to end up in a bathtub filled with ice and my kidneys on a dish beside me. But
with money being exchanged, yes,
absolutely, and not into my hands, I don't think.
No.
But so we chatted for like 10 minutes. I got a feel for what project was about. It was a Mr. Beast style content. They wanted a native speaker to come and host it, and she had me do some line reads and do a little improv, and it felt really good. And I feel like if you're an actor, a lot of times, like you say, it's not about how you feel in the moment, but sometimes you do an audition or you come out of a callback and you just know, whatever it was, like the X factor was just present at the time, and you knew that you hit the character plus the extra that you needed to make an impression. And that's how I felt. And so I went to work that night. I was working at an Italian restaurant in Williamsburg, a beautiful spot called Missy, wonderful pasta. And I went out for drinks with my coworkers afterwards. I was just telling one of my friends about it. And I was like, I don't know, it felt pretty good. I think I might go. And another one of my friends tuned in, and he started asking questions, and it turned out that he had spent about 3 weeks in the capital city of Lithuania, which is Vilnius, which was where I was slated to go. And he told me, he was like, I was supposed to go for a week. I was visiting friends, and I just fell in love with the place. And I canceled my return flight, and I just stayed for a little bit longer. And I just couldn't believe that I met somebody who had been there and had such wonderful things to say about it, and just felt like fate. And the next morning, I woke up to an offer, and they wanted me to come out for 2 months, with the understanding that it would be extended to a year if it was a good fit. And here I am 3 years later.
Wow. And you're still doing the podcast, or?
So that project ran for about 8 months, and it was zany and it was ridiculous, but it ultimately was unsuccessful, and we had to move on. I thought I was going to go home, but the same company had another project starting up, which was like a Dhar Mann-style of these, kind of similar to what vertical content is now, but a little more family friendly. These YouTube soap operas with heavy-handed moral lessons and over the top tropey kind of characters. And so I stuck around, and I just kind of jumped on that, and I worked with them for about 1.5 years, and eventually that also kind of like ground to a halt. And once again, I was like, is this it? Is it time for me to go back home and go back to New York or try my shot out west? And then that's when we started producing verticals over there. So
now I understand, yeah, because I was wondering what's keeping you there now. So is that where you've been shooting the verticals now? Is over there, or do you travel around to do them?
So right now, I have only shot in Lithuania. I've shot 7 at this point. There's a company called Easy House, and that is Algena, the woman who brought me over there. She owns this company, and they are the ones who are producing the verticals over there. Fantastic company. Everybody who comes to shoot with us loves the place, loves the people. You really couldn't ask for a better experience when traveling to shoot a film. But so I actually very exciting news is that I just booked my first vertical in LA. So I'm going to be traveling there in about a week, staying for 2 weeks, just a little supporting role, but something that's really, really exciting and fresh and new for me. So hopefully now I'm going to start jumping around. I want to go shoot in Turkey. I want to shoot in Atlanta because it's right by where my family is right now. Love to shoot in New York again. I've got friends there, places to stay. So anybody who wants me, man, I'm ready to travel. I'm ready to go.
Well, that's great. I'm going to let Marcia take over since I'm on a coughing spree right now. So.
Yeah, that is really interesting story, because I wondered when watching some of your verticals, I could pick up accents, and I said, where are these being filmed? And so you answered that for me, and it's I'm originally from New York City. I was born and raised in New York City, so
Nice.
and I totally understand that New York can be a challenging place to be creative, and that you were open to such a different and new possibility really speaks to your dedication for your art, really.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, and in your adventure and exploration, I think that's absolutely terrific. So, and I also saw that. So you're from New York City. Were you born in Manhattan, or were you?
No, I'm not born and raised in New York at all.
Okay.
I've lived all over the kind of like East Coast and Midwest of the U.S. I was born in Kentucky, jumped around. I was in Florida for a while, Ohio for a while, North Carolina, where my family eventually settled down. Right on the coast of North Carolina. That's where I am right now. Then I moved to New York I graduated from the University of Chapel Hill. The University of North Carolina had Chapel Hill. Same school Michael Jordan went and played basketball. And just got to throw that in there.
I don't blame you one bit for that.
It's a flex. It's a small flex, but it is. And so I was putzing around in Chapel Hill for a couple of years. I was the general manager of a restaurant for a year. I did some traditional serving and bartending, and then I rekindled a friendship with somebody that I knew in high school, and he was a fashion designer at NC State, and he had me walk in his fashion shows, and we had similar dreams, and he wanted to go to New York, and I had never really had the guts to do it on my own. And his plan kind of fell through with another one of his friends that he was looking to go with, and he ended up asking me. So he was the entire reason that I went to New York in the first place. So I moved there in 2019, a couple years after college, and I did it for 3 years. And it was, like you said, it was burning me out a little bit. And so honestly, it didn't feel like a stretch or like a scary thing. It was like I was ready to experience something new. And because of the gradual nature of how it was like, oh, this could only be for 2 months, then I'll go back, and then oh, it might just be for a year. It didn't feel like a big life-changing thing. It's kind of like how you put a frog in cold water and slowly raise the temperature, and he doesn't know that he's being cooked alive. That was my experience of being in Lithuania.
Oh, wow. And so when you were in Chapel Hill, that's where you did Carrie the musical?
Yes, I did. That was really cool because that was like I did musicals all throughout middle school and high school, and when I got to college, I was like, well, it's time to put on my big boy pants, and like I'm probably not talented enough to go into anything else here, so I'm just not even going to try. My freshman year, all I did was study, and then sophomore year, I was just like, I had the bug, like I was really missing it. So I auditioned, and I got the part as like the minor villainous character in that one that John Travolta plays in the movie. Billy is the name of the character, and it just got me. I was just hooked. I was right back in it from there.
Kind of a messy musical, huh, in the end.
Oh, it's so messy. It's not a good show, but it is a very fun show, and we had a lot of fun with it.
And speaking of music, I saw your acapella, one of your acapella videos, which was really fun to watch.
Oh, which one did you see?
I saw All the Small Things.
Yes. Yes, that was my solo in the group. I had 2 solos in my time there and one small little part in a Michael Jackson medley, because we had so many talented guys, so many beautiful voices. And so I was just I had the performance and I had the range for the Blink-182 song, and I was so stoked to get that because we performed it everywhere, man. We performed that at every single gig. It's so fun. Thank you for watching.
Well, acapella, especially males doing acapella, is intoxicating because I have my sisters and I had a group, and we would do acapella, and acapella is very challenging, as you well know. But and listening to the whole group do the whole orchestration was so much fun. Have you ever thought of getting the guys together?
Oh, I see them from time to time when I go back to that group. I was only in it for about 3 semesters, but it was my favorite thing that I did in school there. I met so many lifelong friends in that group. So whenever I go back to visit, I inevitably see a few of them. Acapella was such an interesting time because I remember right when I was getting into the group, there was a newspaper article that came out in the Daily Heel, this rag of a campus newspaper, and it was like the acapella scene at UNC is super saturated, and they weren't wrong. We had like 12 or 15 groups. We had 2 guy groups, a bunch of co-ed groups, and some girl groups, and it was like we had to kind of come to grips with, guys, acapella, like it's really fun to be a part of. It's not always fun to listen to, especially like at concert back to back, but so we all had to kind of like have a heart to heart as these groups on campus and be like, do we care? We didn't care. We just kept performing.
Now, bridging to verticals a little bit, you kind of played a lot of some villainous characters.
Yes, I would say currently, I think the technical term of it is villain jail, and I believe that's where I currently am in my career. I'm stuck in villain jail, and it's not, there are worse places to be. I think, I don't know, something about my features, whatever it is, people love to cast me as the heavy, and that can often be a very fun role to play, but it can also be a challenging and morally ambiguous, maybe not even ambiguous, maybe just a bad thing to be doing, especially the way some of these characters are written in verticals.
I remember your role in Yes Chef, which is unusual. I have been watching verticals probably maybe not quite a year yet, and this is the first one that I've seen where what I consider a fairly main character bites the dust. because you do not fare very well at the end of yeah.
No, I don't. Spoilers. Yeah, it doesn't end well for me. But I love that scene, and I love how I won't give anything away, but I love how it like connects to a breadcrumb earlier in the script.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and it was very, we were out in the forest in the middle of the night. I just, laid down on a dirt road and did what I had to do, and it was just, I don't know, it's fun to die on screen.
Yeah. And it's also vertical world is a fairly smaller world of actors, because you work with Aaron Oberst and so it's got to be fun seeing some of the same people in different projects.
Oh, Aaron and I were like best friends as soon as we met. He's one of the only people who's done multiple verticals over in Lithuania. They don't tend to reuse people. They like to kind of like bring everybody in, see what we're doing over there. But he came over for about 5 weeks, and he shot 3 in a row with Easy House. And from the get-go, man, we were hanging out. Like anytime that he wasn't on set, we were hanging out. And he's just, I took a look at his interview that he did with you guys.
Yeah.
Man, he's just so smart. He's so passionate and skilled, and he really is like the most present human being that I think I've ever met. Like he's just always right there in the moment, and it's really special, and it really shines through in his acting.
So which came first, Office Girl or Yes Chef with Aaron?
Yes Chef was first, so we did Yes Chef with Aaron and Jenna, I believe her name was, and that was wonderful. That was the first time I got to play like a really, not just a bad character, but like a nasty character, kind of like get down and roll around in the dirt kind of character.
Yeah.
At least in a vertical. And I really think like I have to shout out the hair and makeup artists, because they really made me look disgusting. And I think that was like a huge help with my process. I was kind of able to inhabit that kind of scummy kind of guy. So yeah, that was first, and then we did Office Girl.
Okay. Michael, are you back with us, or?
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay.
Theoretically. So I was going to say, I'm surprised. See, my voice is kind of crazy right now. But anyway, I'm surprised you came on with us after you've seen us talk to your good old buddy.
Why is that?
Well, just because I'm surprised we didn't scare you off. That's what.
No, it was great. I loved it. He looked like he was having a good time. Like you guys were asking him good questions, and I just wanted to make sure that I didn't like. I was like, man, they must have already talked to so many of these vertical people. I don't want to be like redundant. I don't want to say anything that's been said. And I skimmed through because I was like, I don't want to steal his answers, because his answers are really good, and I don't want to copycat this guy. So I wanted to kind of stay fresh, but have an idea of what I was getting myself into. And so far, I'm very, very pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, well, it was great having Aaron on. It really was. I mean, we've had so many now, so it's like it's been fun. All of them have been fun. So, but anyway, we do our best. But going back, so you're visiting your parents, and they're in North Carolina now, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Would you say what part? Southern part? Northern part?
So they're in a little place called Holly Ridge. It's eastern North Carolina. It's close to where I grew up. We were in a town called Jacksonville, which is right by Camp Lejeune, if you're from here, the biggest Marine Corps base in the country. So they have both retired, and they have a little house out on the intercoastal waterways here. Oh,
cool. Yeah, that's a nice area. I mean,
it's beautiful.
I used to go to the Outer Banks all the time, so I know kind of that area. So yeah.
Sure, and the TV show really did a lot for people too. That when everybody's seen Outer Banks, so whenever I say like I'm kind of around, they're like, "Oh, I know what that is. That's from that show."
Yeah, I never got into that show though. I tried because I owned property down there, and it was like I just couldn't get into it though. Maybe it's because
my family watched it, and they told me there's an episode where the kids take a ferry to Chapel Hill, to where I went to school, and I'm like, you can't do that. It's it's in the middle. You'd have to drive 2.5 hours.
It's in the middle of the
I was like, so the logical fallacy of the whole thing, it just put me off from it right from the get go. So I didn't.
Well, I mean, I can totally get that because and there's no direct route to go from there to the bank. I mean, it's not fun. It's geared for the people south and north to go to that area fast,
right?
But not people that are inland in North Carolina.
Exactly right.
Yeah, they need to fix their highway system. I get it because I've had to do it. I said to someone, "Oh, come and visit me," and I go, "It takes me longer to drive from your place in North Carolina to the beach than it does from mine in DC to go to the beach there." And they go, "What?" And I said, "Yeah." So I understand it anyway. But Jared, what is your goal now since you're in Lithuania? You plan on staying as long as you can, or are you ready for a new challenge?
I'm ready for more. I don't see it as it's not a place that I ever want to leave for good. I've made too many friends there. I love it too much. I've spent the best 3 years of my life there, and it's provided me with all of the opportunities that I've since gotten. So it's somewhere that I always want to be able to go back to visit and to shoot, because I really do believe that the talent there on both sides of the camera is insanely high, and the cost of production is very, very low. So this is kind of like a golden time to be there filming. Yeah. And even when I first got there, I thought the city was a little hidden gem. I'm like, man, in a decade, this place is going to be, it's a well-kept secret right now, but it's not going to be for long. So I always want to be able to go back. Long-term, I don't know how it is for me to completely stay there. That is my base camp, but again, it's somewhere I always want to be able to return.
Mm-hmm. Well, now you were talking about singing. Have you released your own songs, or you just like to do covers and things like that?
I mainly like to do covers. I don't think I do write a bit, but I think I have trouble with songwriting, because with songwriting, man, all you need are 4 chords and the truth, and you can lay down a really, really killer tune. But I think some of my writing is, I like dialogue, and I like to be my writing tends to be a little verbose, a little lengthy, and I think I have difficulty getting to the heart really, really quickly. So I think that's a skill that I need to work on to become a truly good songwriter. It is funny you asked that, because this past year I did write the first song that I was ever happy with. That I was like, oh, this I would write stuff that I was like, yeah, this is cute, this is good for me. But I wrote the first song that I was like, this is a good song. And so maybe it's part of my future, but right now it's not. I'm too focused on what I'm doing here in the vertical world, honestly, which is, I guess, a silly thing to say, but I see this as, they always say, am I allowed to curse on here? Is that a thing we can do?
Rather you not, but it's
all right. That's fine. They say you should never use half of a part of your body when you're doing something. You should put the whole into it. And so I think I don't want to kind of stretch myself too thin trying to do music if it's not what I'm particularly gifted in. This is where I think I belong right now, and I want to focus all of my efforts on that.
That makes total sense. Now, we do have someone in the chat room that says that they love you. And that is Latina Devour. I've probably said that wrong.
That is my good boy, Benas.
Yeah. Okay. And he says, "Love you, Jared." So
he is one of the first true friends that I made in Lithuania.
Oh, really? Okay, that's cool. That's cool. That is cool.
He's also about the coolest guy you'll ever meet, and he's funnier in any language than I will ever be in English.
That's what gets me from people over in that area of the world. I mean, if they don't speak it 4 languages, there's something wrong.
Mm-hmm. They're all amazing. They're all fantastic.
They are amazing.
Dumb American over there.
Well, yeah, I feel the same way when we have our guests from over in that area, and I mean, I can't even pronounce most of their names, but I try, and they all speak all these different languages, and I just go barely English. I used to know some Spanish, but that's gone now. So, but I didn't use it enough. But anyway, on to other fun, exciting topics. What is I usually ask this to people, and you probably heard me ask this to Aaron, and we've gotten different answers from every single person. After you did your first vertical, and you were telling your friends what you were doing, and they gave you this funny blank look and said, "What are you talking about?" How did you explain it to them?
Yeah, totally fair. It's funny because I've been doing these projects that are difficult to explain to the average person for a very long time. It was difficult for me to explain the Mr. Beast, the Mad Lads content that we were doing. It was difficult for me to explain the Secret Diaries, the YouTube soap operas. But it's not as the verticals are more similar to the Secret Diaries YouTube soap opera thing that I did. I usually lead by calling them TikTok soap operas, which confuses people a little bit at first because they're like, oh, they're little, they're 30 seconds or whatever. No, they're like feature films. They're full length movies, and then they're like, oh wait, what's going on? So yeah, vertical is the aspect ratio of the 9:16, so it's you watch it on your phone, and that seems pretty easy for them to understand. And I just say that they are really modern day soap operas. They take these ridiculous situations and these characters, and they have these formulaic kind of plot lines. They're all centered around this young ingenue who is equally, adventurous and expeditious and virginal, but she's also very passionate and sexual at the same time. And she always gets wrapped up with some overpowered, wealthy man, and shenanigans ensue. And that's, most people have seen something like this on their TikTok or on Instagram. They've seen a reel of something or another. And so usually when you explain it like that, it clicks in their head and they're like, oh, that's the stuff that I see where people are like slapping each other like a lot and getting tossed into pools. I'm like, yes, that's what I'm doing. And then you kind of see their eyes glaze over a little bit.
And here's the last one. I'm going to go back to Marcia. Rolandas. Oh, this is one of these accents. That's
exactly right.
Yeah. See, I'm learning. I'm learning.
You nailed it.
One of the best actors I have had the pleasure to work with. What did you work with him with?
He came on Secret Diaries. He is a sweetheart, and he's this beautiful guy, and he's big, and he fights. He does Muay Thai. So when he was coming on, we were starting to do some more fighting stuff because we were sort of pursuing the vertical market in that Secret Diaries project before we went under. And so specifically, there was one we did together where we were both ex-military. He's still kind of loyal to the service, whereas I've become gun for hire, and we were competing over this girl that we both dated in high school. And so ultimately, there's this big show of manliness where we get in a boxing ring and we have to, go a few rounds with each other. And I did a little taekwondo when I was a kid, not to brag. I think I made it up to an orange belt. But I am not much of a fighter in this day and age. And so he really, really was instrumental in helping me get ready for that fight. And that is what really led to me feeling comfortable to do my lead role in The Class of Lust and Lies that he also was in. He played like my father's lackey in that one. And beforehand, we have this wonderful guy who's our fight trainer there and our stunt choreographer. And he was a Lithuanian Muay Thai champion. His name is Rokas, and he's a stud, and he's a superstar too. But Rolanda got together with me in the gym, and he just helped me figure out some of the choreo that I'd already learned. He helped get it into my body and helped me figure out how to look natural, how to punch a punching bag without breaking my wrists, so that I don't completely halt production on day one. So he's a very talented actor himself in his own right. Very natural, and super lucky to have him, and honestly would not have gotten the performances that I've gotten without his help.
That is great. Marcia, go right ahead.
Yeah, that was leading into a question that I wanted to ask you about the fight scenes in The Class of Lust and Lies, and you answered that perfectly because, and I do often wonder, you figure there are some outtakes probably, in scenes, and fans love to watch blooper reels.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
She's hinting.
yeah.
She's hinting.
Were there some bloopers with your fight scenes, maybe?
Some of the fight scenes, I mean, first of all, being able to do that movie was insane, because Fight Club is probably in my top. It's easily in my top 10. It might be in my top 5. So just being able to do something kind of like akin to that was a dream come true. And the fact that we just like stole the scene where Jared Leto gets his face punched in for the vertical too, that was really, really cool. I would say that the guy that played my best friend in that, his name was Jugos, and this was his first time acting, like first time on set. He'd never done any fight training before. So like, I mean, props to him for stepping up and doing the thing. We were in a warehouse at like 2 a.m. You know, they'd splashed water on the ground, dirty water, muddy water on the ground to get the reflections for the camera. He's laying on the ground taking these punches, and like we're all tired, we're hungry, and so like some of those, it was a little goofy because like it took a little bit to get in sync with our hit. So like I'd hit and then there'd be a little delay, and then he'd go and be like, no, cut, we got to do this again. But honestly, the biggest bloopers would have been when I fought my father at the end of that episode. My father's played by Ryan Luzian. I don't know how to pronounce the last name. I don't think he knows how to pronounce it, but he's the writer at Easy House, and he wrote that script. And so he wrote and he played my father, and we were both like killing ourselves to get ready because I'm shirtless for like 60% of this movie, and he has to be shirtless for it. We're killing ourselves like the 2 months leading up to this thing, and you know, we're dehydrated and we're not eating. We didn't have any food that day. We're trying to look as trim as possible. It's like 3 a.m. and we're doing this, like, we wanted just this epic fight scene with slow motion shots and blood spraying, knives coming out. And so like, and we just didn't have the time to do it the way we really wanted it. So we were going it got a little hairy because we were really trying to sell it. And so like, there were times that he punched me in the gut a couple of times, like actually punched me in the gut. I kicked his shin I kicked his knee so hard. The floor is wet. We're pushing each other. He's falling. To his credit, his falls are so good in that movie because he just was falling. This is a guy in his upper 30s, and he's just hitting the ground, hitting the deck for this script that he's so passionate about, that he loves, that he wrote. And so I don't know. I mean, I would love to see what's on the cutting room floor of that one, because it was messy.
It looked even messy to us viewing it, so I can imagine what it was like on set. And
it was fun.
And I also wanted to talk about your hair and we've seen you in so many. We've seen you long hair. We've seen you shorter hair. We've seen you mustache. We've seen.
Yeah. So the long hair was something that like I always wanted to do, and I just figured when I moved to Lithuania, I was like, oh, this is a good opportunity. Like new year, new country, new me, and I'll just grow it until somebody tells me to cut it. And they don't care, man. They don't care if I have tattoos. They don't care. They would let me do anything. They let me go on camera. However, they let me write monologues for some of this stuff. So I just had long hair. I was like, is anybody gonna tell me to cut it? Anybody gonna tell me to cut it? No, okay. And so I had it for this. We were doing this series called Anthology, and it's a series of 5 standalone horror movies, kind of like Black Mirror style. And we chose as proof of concept for Easy House becoming its own production company. And I was going to lead one with my long hair, and then I was going to have it cut on camera for the second movie that I was leading, where I was going to be in an insane asylum. And I ended up getting cold feet on the haircut right at the last minute, and so I kept it. And Algena was very nice about it, but I could tell she was disappointed, because it's always so cool when someone gets their hair cut on camera. You think of like Anne Hathaway and Les Mis, and it feels real. It feels gritty.
Yeah.
And so like I sort of wish I had done it, but I was holding out, and I inevitably did get it cut and had it donated, which felt really good to do. Don't miss it. I don't miss the really long hair. It was a lot. As far
And
as
what
the
about,
facial hair,
yes, yes.
yeah. So the facial hair is something that I discovered that I could do basically last year. I was baby face for my entire life, and then I had a role in Secret Diaries where I was playing this. I was playing kind of a creepy guy. I was creepy, but I was ultimately a good guy. But I was kind of stalking this girl, and so I just wanted to look grungy. So I'm just gonna let all my scraggly beard grow out. I'm just gonna look gross, and it's gonna be great. And so like 5 days into it, I'm getting this little goatee coming out, and everybody there, everybody in Lithuania, all the hair and makeup ladies are like, "It looks so good. It looks so good on you." And I was like, "That's not what I'm going for." I want it to look bad, but that's how I discovered that I could actually grow something. And I think that's been really, really important for me playing these different roles and like trying on these different characters. And I think just the fact that, the mustache gives me this kind of like, I don't know, more refined air. The goatee gives me that kind of like devilish, like villain kind of vibe. And I can still go clean shaven and believably play somebody in college. So I had somebody call me a shapeshifter recently. And I thought that was a very, very nice compliment.
I can see that because it changes, and you use it for your characters, and it's very cool to see. Well, and what about accents? You've done some.
Yeah, so I wasn't trained really at all. I didn't go to school for acting. I took some classes in New York and some online classes, but most of what I do is self-taught, and from the little tidbits that I pick up from these killer people that come to shoot in Lithuania with these people who come from LA and New York who come to shoot with us. I learn something new from everybody who comes. I have a new tool for my toolbox. So one of the big things that I learned early on is that if something is your weakness, grab it, take as much of it as you can, and turn it into one of your strengths. That's what I try to do improv in New York, and that's what I've done with accents and dialects. Like I said, in Secret Diaries, I did maybe 50 of those videos, and a lot of leads, but a lot of side characters. And so whenever I was a side character, I would just be like, hey, maybe he's got a Brooklyn accent. Maybe he grew up in Ireland, but he's got a mother that's, Cockney, like whatever, So I was just trying to play around, and a lot of times it was terrible. But every once in a while, like I did a Southern accent, which is more, close to home for me. And somebody in the comments was like, oh, he has the most beautiful Southern drawl I've ever heard. And I was like, that is so sweet. It's not real. Thank you. So I whenever I can, I try to do something new, and I usually fall flat on my face, but it's fun to try.
And with so voiceovers, have you done animation or any?
I haven't done any I guess I've done like commercials that were animated, and I just did a video game that I'm really, really excited for. I did that in Lithuania. I don't know when it's coming out, but it's a cool concept. It's a cozy game, which I don't know how familiar you two are, but it's like games like power washing. It's like kids like to play these games where you have something really dirty and clean it up. So it's a tattoo removal simulator. I play this tattoo removal guy, and I'm just talking to these guests who are coming in, and they all have these wild stories surrounding their tattoos. Like one of them is a Yakuza boss who like had to flee for his life, and is now has like refound like his old like childhood sweetheart, and is trying to have them removed so he can go talk to her. And this woman who wants to work with children now, and so like they go through these really long like touching life stories, and I just kind of like ask questions and guide them through. So I'm really, really excited for that one. My best voiceover job ever was in New York, and it was a one-on-one teleplay. So people would sign up for a slot, and they would be given the instructions that they were part of a helpline, and I would call them at a designated hour. I would do this three in a row, back to back, every Thursday night, and I would call in. I would pretend to be this 15-year-old boy named Danny, who had just moved with his single father into a new house. And over the course of the last week, a monster had been appearing in my room every night. And it had been slowly shifting into me. And on that night, it had completed its transformation. It was my doppelganger. and I finally worked up the courage to shove it into the closet and lock the door. And so like it comes with all these different sounds, like you hear banging from the speaker that I had playing, and I just go through this kind of a decision tree where sometimes the guests would be just yes or no answers, going through the prompts. Sometimes they would take the reins, be like, where's your mother? Where have you called the police? Can you go to the hockey? Is there somewhere safe? And then you just throw the script away and you just go totally off the cuff. And so about halfway through the script, I make an excuse to leave, and then I pretend to be the monster in the closet. And I say, no, I'm the real Danny. You've been talking to the monster. You have to save me. You have to get me out of the closet. And then I come back as the first Danny, and the guest has to make their choice. Do you leave the monster in the closet, or do you let him out?
Cool.
So I did that for like 6 months in New York, and it was just so hard but so fun. And that was how I got a lot of my like improv training and where I really fell in love with voice acting.
Okay. Well, Michael.
Yeah. Yeah, we've got Ahmed is posted something here, and he goes, "Woo, Jared the goat!" and then he says, "Your passion for acting is infectious."
Oh, that's so beautiful. Thank you.
Jared, the last thing I'm going to ask is if acting hadn't working out for you, what would you have been doing now, do you think?
That's a good question. I always imagined that I would go into healthcare because that's basically what my entire family has done. Halfway through college, I realized that it just wasn't for me. I don't know. I really liked Aaron's answer, how he was like, "Oh man, acting was like plan F for me. Like I could have done any of these other things." But I think that I'm the type of person that can figure things out and can adapt to his situation. And so I think I could have gone many different ways. And I think that's like one of the key tenets of being like a truly powerful creative and a good actor and a good entertainer, is that you could be doing anything else, but this is what you choose to do. So I don't even really like to think about the other alternatives, because I'm sure they're there. There are infinite other universes where I bartended for 40 years, or where I became a thoracic surgeon or whatever it is. But this is where I am, and I couldn't possibly feel more lucky or blessed to be living the life that I'm living right now. So I don't think it matters what else I could have been doing.
Well, that's a good answer, because you really never know. I mean, I went to school for something too, and I didn't do that. Well, I did, but that was not my, thing. I ended up, I went in for computer science. I ended up being in education. So you just never know.
Yeah, it's a winding road.
It is a winding road, and you just never know where you're going to end up. Marcia, do you have any closing comments or questions?
Well, I do. I have to ask because now, you're in Lithuania, and I usually ask food type question. Sometimes is, you're tired, it's at the end of the day, and you're still really hungry. And what are one of your go-to meals? What do you grab? What would you like?
Go-to food, Lithuania. The kebab scene in Europe is insane, and it has reached Lithuania as well. So I will grab a kebab at the end of the day. If I'm going for like a Lithuanian food, I'm gonna get these little things called dune, and they're just little Lithuanian dumplings, and they're usually filled with pork. A lot of their dishes recipes are pork centered. And every culture has their own kind of dumpling, but this one just really appeals to me. It's so simple. You can find really good frozen ones in the supermarkets there, and you can just boil them up. And I like to do a little like onions and garlic in a pan, and I throw them on with that with some butter, and then you finish it off with some sour cream. They have the best sour cream in the world in Lithuania, and then you got yourself a meal right there. It's delicious.
Well, that sounds really good. I can go for that.
Very good. Very good. Very simple.
And you mentioned sports earlier. You mentioned Michael Jordan and Chapel Hill and all that. So are you
Mhm.
by any chance a baseball fan? Do you care what's going on in the playoffs or?
I don't watch a whole lot. No, I played when I was younger, and
Mm-hmm.
I was good at it. But I got to a point where and then kids were pitching too fast, and I just didn't want to be standing in front of a fastball anymore. So no, I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on with the playoffs.
That's
I have friends who do though, and they'll be mad at me if they ever see this. But
okay.
who's your
But
team? Who do you care about right now?
Oh, you
well,
would say that.
well, the Mets who are not in it. I'm a lifelong Mets fan, but they're, but the Mariners, since they've never been to the World Series, I'm kind of
Mhm.
hoping that they make it through. But Otani,
No.
oh my gosh, if
Oh, the
you,
rock star. I do know that name.
well,
He's
see,
a rock
you do
star.
know Otani.
Oh, yeah.
Unbelievable, unbelievable. But yes, and I wanted to thank you so much for sharing some of your day with us. I've learned a lot about you, and I can't wait to see what you're doing next. So please keep in touch with us. Let us know what you're up
Please
to.
do.
Absolutely. Thank you both so much. This has been such a wonderful experience. My first podcast ever. So thank you for having me. And you do the same. Keep in touch. I want to know what you're doing at all times.
Absolutely.
We're doing everything all the time. I mean,
I can tell.
Yeah, well, we have three main subjects that we're doing now on the podcast. So,
Mm-hmm.
and theoretically, a fourth one starts next month. I still haven't decided how far we're going to go on that one because we're
Mm-hmm.
still doing all the other ones at the same time. So, but
When do
hey,
you time?
I don't know. I'm up a lot until 3 a.m. doing emails, which is no fun. But as I said, a lot of our guests are over in Europe, and
Yeah.
if I get it out at 3 a.m., it gets there at about 9. And
Sure.
so then you sometimes get a response before I actually get to sleep at 5.
Mhm.
So,
Well, we appreciate it for sure.
well,
But
it's fun. It's fun.
and
What, Marsh?
what should we be looking for you next? You
Yeah.
said you had a project.
I'm really stoked on these horror films that hopefully will come out eventually, the anthology. Otherwise, just keep your eyes peeled. I'm hitting the vertical market hard because this content is crazy and silly and over the top, but it's never been a better time to be an actor. A lot of people are getting their shot right now that never would have gotten their shot before.
That is
And
true. That is true.
Yeah, it's really exciting, and I'm just stoked to see where this genre, where this platform takes us.
All right.
Yeah. And before we go, I'd like to thank Bobby Nash and Roger Noriega for the likes on Facebook. We do appreciate it. If you did give us a like on YouTube, we cannot see that until after the broadcast, unfortunately. So that's just the way it is. But Jared, I'd like to say thank you for coming. And thank you for saying yes when I wrote you. I know you were going, what? Is this real? I understand that. So
it was a no-brainer. This has been an absolute delight. Thank you so much for having me.
It was wonderful having you. We'd love to have you back again. Aaron Sullivan says talented kid.
Yeah, that's my best friend. He would say that.
Yeah, he would say that. Did you pay him or no? No, I shouldn't say that now. But anyway, Jared, thank you again for coming. And we'd love to have you back on again when you had some free time or if you don't have any free time and just want to chit chat, if you have something you want to talk about, if you've got a new project, just let us know.
Absolutely.
Even if you're over in Lithuania, this time would work for Lithuania almost a couple hours earlier. So that's fine.
Yeah, I'd still be up. I'd still be up around this time.
Yeah. So whatever works for you. And so everyone out there that joined in live, thank you for coming. Those that are looking afterwards, thank you. And everyone have a great day. As I said, we've got 2 more vertical podcasts coming up, one at 5 p.m. Eastern, one at 7 p.m. on the Talented Universe channel. So everyone take care. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.